the Director of Communications at the Cranbrook Academy of Art and the Art Museum at Cranbrook, Julie Fracker, with us now on the MegaCast. Julie, welcome to the program.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Cranbrook has 3 schools. Julie deals with the Art Museum and the Master's Program for the Cranbrook Academy of Art. How are you, Julie? How's your team?
Good, good. We're pivoting like everyone else right about now.
Yeah, everyone's doing something different and has to innovate, has to change what they're doing to stay alive and to stay productive during this. Cranbrook is providing resources for students and the general public with some online programming from my notes. What are some of those programs that Cranbrook is providing at this time?
Yeah, so we have a few different things through Cranbrook Art Museum. If you visit our website, we have photographed all of our exhibitions and we offer them now as a 3D tour. So it's a virtual tour. You can actually sort of walk through the exhibitions. You can click on the items within there and you can actually read more about all of the objects in each of the shows. We started doing this just coincidentally, really just a few months sort of before all of this hit. So it's just our last few exhibitions, but as luck would have it, the timing was terrific because it really allowed us to give people a chance to maybe see a show that they didn't get a chance to come to the museum and see. Our educators have worked really hard to also provide educator guides that complement those exhibitions. So if you have a young child, you can walk virtually through the exhibition, stop, look at some of the objects there, and then do an activity with them. So pattern making based on a Ruth Adler Schnee textile, things like that. So we're really trying to still stay connected to the community, provide them with a service, and it is something, as I think we'll see as things go on, that we'll continue to do this. So this is something that yes, we're doing now, but the response has been so positive, and not everybody can get to Bloomfield Hills. Not everybody can get to the museum. So people from around the world in the future will still be able to enjoy our shows this way. So we're learning as we're going. We're also providing a lot of activities for kids online. So on our website, cranbrookartmuseum.org, there's several different sections on there with daily activities. On Instagram, every Monday, we provide mini maker activities for families to do together. So it's all about, still keeping busy, but also teaching these kids at the same time about arts and culture. And then the other event that we have coming this weekend is our online studio event in Gala. So what happened this year in the spring, our largest fundraiser of the year is an event that's called Studio. We've had it since 2009. It existed in other forms prior to that, and it helps fund scholarships for students at the Academy of Art, and it also helps to support educational programs at Cranbrook Art Museum. So when everything started happening with the pandemic, we really had to make a decision. We knew we weren't going to be able to meet in person. But this event really does provide very critical funding for our students. So we didn't want to just skip it. And it also allows our students the opportunity to sell a lot of their work. They can sell the work at the gala. And then we also have an event the day after the gala that's open to the general public called Open Studios, where the general public can wander the studios of the students at the Academy of Art and purchase work directly from them. So our team rallied. We set up a website through ClickBid. The website is studio.cranbrook.edu. You can visit that site starting tomorrow, Saturday at 9 a.m. And there are 1,000 original works of art created by the students at Cranbrook Academy of Art. And so this is a master's program. So these are master's students. And the general public, for the very first time, has the ability to purchase this work online. Typically, you'd have to come to the event, you'd have to come to the artist studios, work with them. So it's another model that's still providing critical funding for our students. They're struggling as much as everyone else right now. And so this will provide direct funding to those students through the purchase of their work. And then it will also help support the departments and the museum moving forward.
So a lot of this art, it's nearly 1,000 pieces of art in this art sale that's been student made. During this process, I would assume that the art studios have been closed with all the tools being very hands-on to be making these pieces of art. So have these students been making their works of art for this sale at home also?
Yeah, so some have, but a lot of the work was made in advance. So our program is it's a studio intensive 2-year program. So we closed mid-March, as with everyone else. We had to close our buildings. So a lot of the work was work that they had already been working on for the past year and a half. So they had it sort of ready to go. There is additional work that I think was created remotely, as much as they could. But most of it, yeah, like I said, most of it was already done, and it's a really wide variety of work. So if you're into painting or the fiber arts or metalsmithing or 3D industrial furniture design, you won't see a sale like this, I think, just because of the nature of the academy being so diverse, where you will have such a wide variety of objects to choose from. And we pulled it together quickly. We went to our students and said, we can do this, but do you have work? Do you have things to sell? Because we still want to give them that opportunity. And they rallied and they put together they had work that existed, they made new work. And so we all worked together and got it up on the site quickly. And we thought, if we have a few hundred pieces to sell, that's great. That's a good service. It still will help them. And they came through with 1,000 pieces of work.
Wow.
So there is something for everyone, and a wide range of price points. There's ceramic cups that might be $55. There's paintings that may run into the thousands, but there really is something on there for just about everybody.
Julie Fracker, Director of Communications at the Cranbrook Academy of Art and Art Museum. There's also the master's program, the Academy's master's program. I would assume, like many other educational programs during this time, has been impacted. Did that move entirely virtual? Was that a little bit of a hybrid program? How did that work as we went into this pandemic crisis?
Yeah, it did have to move. We did have to move virtual, which is not ideal, of course, for a studio-based art program. So the hardest part was that for our master's students, we had to cancel their thesis exhibition, which is when they show their final work. So we're working with them now to get that up online virtually. So we will have a virtual exhibition, but that won't probably be live until the end of May, early June, because they're still working kind of remotely on their projects. We do hope next summer to be able to still have some kind of a physical exhibition for them. We're working through details on how that would work. But for the rest of the time, really, it was, the artists in residence at Cranbrook really worked. They turned on a dime, and the students were tremendous, and they set up Zoom calls just like this. And they, instead of having visiting artists and speakers come in and talk to the students directly in the studios, they had these Zoom conferences. And typically that's not something we would do. We would bring somebody right to campus to talk with them. But it allowed them to really talk to a wide variety of thinkers and artists and collectors and curators that they may not have been able to travel to Cranbrook. And so again, it is kind of this hybrid that we're learning from. So, the plan for us hopefully is to go back to, full being on campus in the fall with, of course, safety modifications in place. But I think there's things we're learning from this process too, that we may still have some of these conversations for people that may not be able to travel to Cranbrook to speak with our students. Now that we've done it, we've seen how beneficial these conversations can be virtually. That will sort of be a supplement to things that we'll do going forward. So it's, it hasn't been ideal. It's of course not what you want for a studio-based art program, but I think everyone has really come together and really made it work.
In terms of your graduating students in the master program, it's a special time, like it is when you're graduating high school, when you're finishing your undergrad and you graduate from college or from a trade school or from any sort of program like that. What is Cranbrook doing to honor its outgoing class?
Yep. So today would have actually been our commencement day, today at 2:00. So we actually have a special website that we built that is going to go live today at 2:00. It's sort of a surprise for them. And they know it's coming, but they don't know the content that's on the page. And we've been working really hard over the past few weeks with our alumni, with our artists in residence, with their individual studio council, which is like their student council, to build a set of videos, to confer degrees online, to do a whole host of special things. So everybody knows to check their email at 2 o'clock today, which they will do. They will get a message from us, and then we'll make the website go live that will have just all kinds of things honoring them and a whole bunch of surprises that will live on that site as well. And our artists in residence all came together, and they made something for them. So I do think they are getting something today to honor it. The hope is next summer we will have an alumni. We're looking to have an alumni reunion if all goes as planned, June 20th and 21st. And that Sunday of that weekend, we do plan to have an actual in-person commencement for this class to sort of make up for what they're missing out on. So they're getting sort of, again, this hybrid, right? They'll get this thing today that still recognizes them and appreciates them and commemorates the day, and they can share with friends and family and all of that. But we don't want that to be a complete substitute for that in-person event, because that is so important.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to know that there's a plan in place for honoring this outgoing class and doing that online for now and in person down the road. Julie Fracker, Director of Cranbrook Academy of Art and their Art Museum, thank you very much for being on with us today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Julie Fracker from the Cranbrook Academy of Art and the Art Museum, one of their 3 schools over there at Cranbrook, joining us on the MegaCast.